Let's go!
If we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm a good watch in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. You keep going a little bit longer.
See a thing.
24/7 at RomanoMazda.com.
WTLA North Syracuse, WSGO Oswego, W249BC Mattydale, W261AC Oswego, WTKWHD2 Bridgeport,
set up on purpose.
ESPN Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today.
You want to host? I could. It doesn't matter up to you.
Syracuse University.
Right.
This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Yes, this is Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K, Dan Pillar, Josh Radjanov, we're back, but better than ever. The vibes are great. I was rushing here. I was getting a lot of crap for being a minute early. But again, I was.
If you're not early, you're late, Jacob.
5 minutes early, you're late.
We run on TV time. 2 o'clock is 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock
It's 2 o'clock.
So let's get right into it. Kyle Cuff and Chris Bell are out. In my opinion, I'm going to start off hot here. I might be a little provocative here.
Moore.
You keep forgetting about Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was at a game once. This is recent. Some guy was like, "Red, play Choppa," and he looked back at him, gave him the death stare. It was like he was angry. I honestly think with the whole NIL thing, if they don't want to be here, get out.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough. It's tough to take, but if you don't want to be part of this, then get your butt out of here.
I mean, for Kyle Cuff, in my opinion, that's mostly just a I want more playing time type thing. You know, he didn't play much here. He wasn't going to be a main key guy at Syracuse. Kyle Cuff makes sense. Chris Bell kind of makes sense. Him and Red never really saw eye to eye. I think Autry, almost broke him to a sense whenever he moved him to the bench. And look, Chris Bell started the season shooting 26%. So at what point do you, Adrian Autry had to make a move. So I think Chris Bell, for him, it's more of a fresh start. And we'll get into Elijah Moore a little bit later. But those first two guys, I think it makes sense.
You can say what you want about these guys transferring, but, it's unfortunate that they're leaving. You can say that all you want. My biggest concern is that this kind of opens the floodgates a little bit.
I don't know.
With guys like Cuff and Bell, and now Moore especially opening
Cuff
the door.
And Bell, I mean, those were guys we expected.
But this is like this can be very much be a domino effect where guys like Donnie Freeman, Peter Majstorovic.
We said the same thing last year.
Even J.J. Starling. Guys,
we said the same thing last year. Only 3 guys transferred out.
You don't know. I feel like you have to look at it right now, and the fact that they're doing it already and they're announcing it immediately, the portal opened today. And they're already hitting the portal. You already have 3 of your guys from last year hitting the portal. That's got to be cause for concern, no?
Think about it from Kyle Cuff's perspective, where he didn't get many minutes this season. How many minutes a game do you think? 10, 15?
I have it right here. He got 27.3% of the minutes.
Sure.
Well, how many minutes did he average a night? Let's keep it a little more simple.
All right. Ken Palm wants to be feeble.
I got you. He averaged 12.
Yeah, exactly. If you're Kyle Cuff and you're going into your senior year and you want to, get more playing time, it's not like Kyle Cuff is going to go to Duke or Arizona or another Power 5 school and get so much playing time. It's not like Kyle Cuff is going to be the difference Syracuse is good and bad next year.
No, I'm not saying that.
And same thing with Chris Bell. Look, the Chris Bell experiment was great. He played great last year. Let him go make an impact, next year where he'll get more playing time. Maybe he'll see more eye to eye with a coach. And then for Elijah Moore, I think this is my opinion, and I don't know. But in my mind, Coach Autry, Wild Hack, and they had a conversation with Elijah Moore and said, "Look, here's what's happening. We're bringing in new recruits next year. You didn't see the floor much this year. We recommend you enter the transfer portal and see what works best for you to get more playing time, because it's probably not going to happen here." Now, is that fair? Because I don't think Elijah Moore was really given that much of a fair chance. I don't think Coach Autry played him enough. 1,000%. With that being said, I do think he was encouraged to transfer with all the new recruits coming in and everything like that.
I don't think it's ridiculous to say that. I think, looking at it as a whole, Elijah Moore last season, when you were brought in as a 4-star recruit and you're in that upper echelon kind of players, there's a certain expectation that's put on you. And it seems like the Syracuse fans, Adrian Autry, and even himself had that expectation that he was going to do big things in his first year here at Syracuse. And, the injury kind of derailed things. There was a bit of a confidence issue. He started coming off the bench later on because he couldn't hit open shots. When a guy's confidence is shot, eventually, you just kind of need a change of scenery, which is kind of the biggest thing I'm noticing here is it's seeming like, even with Chris Bell, I feel like you can say it's a confidence thing as well, going from being one of the most prolific shooters to really struggling last season, it's the culture. If there's a bad culture surrounding Adrian Autry and Syracuse basketball, then you're going to have this issue where guys want to transfer. And like I keep saying, I'm worried that, just because 1, 2, 3 guys open, that means the floodgates might open up, and you're going to see guys like Donnie Freeman, Peter Majstorovic, and even possibly J.J. Starling put their names in the portal as well.
That is a great point. No, I'm looking at it right here. So Chris Bell in 2024, that season, shot 42% from 3. Yeah. This season he was down to 35. So that's a big difference there. So and he took less shots. He just wasn't. I think the confidence you were saying, the self-confidence. I mean, he took 133 shots this season. Last season, he took 192 from 3. So that's a big difference.
So you're kind of saying that you're worried. How would you say? Are you concerned, panic? You're worried that the floodgates are going to open. Is that what you're saying?
I'm a bit concerned. I'm concerned with what the culture of Syracuse basketball currently stands.
I don't really feel that concerned.
Okay.
I don't.
I'd love to hear why.
Elijah Moore kind of concerns me a little bit because Kyle Cuff and Chris Bell are still technically Boeheim era recruits.
Okay.
The only non-Boeheim era recruit that has transferred out so far is Elijah Moore. And that's a guy who I really think was encouraged to transfer. I really think that they had that conversation with him and said, you're probably not going to play much here next year. We encourage you to go transfer somewhere else where you'll get more playing time, where you can develop as a player. Until I see JJ and Donnie are where things get iffy. Because if they transfer, then I'm legitimately concerned, probably panicking about the state of Syracuse basketball's program.
Especially with the great players coming in, Kai and Anthony, especially him with notoriety coming in here. These guys are leaving. I mean, if you don't want to be here, get out.
Yeah.
Seriously, and it's tough to say.
It is, it's a new world, of course, of college basketball. I want to read you guys a quote from Kyle Cuff to Syracuse.com after they lost to SMU in the ACC tournament. Kyle Cuff said, quote, "Yeah, I would have technically graduated in 3 years, but the transfer and rules thing made it impossible. But I have 2 more years of eligibility, which I plan on using here." So you hear that quote 2 years ago, and you're like, oh, Kyle Cuff's staying, right?
You know what that tells me?
What changed in 2 weeks?
You know what that tells me? They probably told him to. They probably encouraged him to transfer.
It's not out of the question.
I don't think, because think about it. These are guys that want playing time, right? These are guys that want to develop into, better basketball players, better men. And I'm sure Autry and Wildhack probably sat down and had those tough conversations with these 3 guys so far. I bet you after the season immediately ended, they talked to Kyle Cuff and said, look, we don't have enough room for you to have meaningful minutes on this team. He already didn't have room in the past 2 years having meaningful minutes on this team. So why not encourage him to go get playing time somewhere else? If he's saying that kind of makes my point a little bit in saying, he's a guy that wants to be here, wants to help the winning culture, wants to help turn around Syracuse. And I think just it's unfortunate. This is what happens in college sports. There's just not enough spots on a basketball court for him to play. I'm not concerned right now at the transfer portal looks. Chris Bell is an impact player who I think will be missed a lot. I don't think him and Autry will miss each other too much because I just don't think they ever really saw eye to eye.
It's a bit of a head case.
Yeah, but I am not panicking or anything really over these 3 transfers so far.
Yeah, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it kind of is just, if you don't want to be here, then get out. If you're on why? If someone wants to leave, then leave. Don't.
Here's one thing too that concerns me a little bit kind of on this topic is now, Cuff, Bell, and Moore go into the portal. You look at the current state of the roster. As it currently stands, minusing the walk-ons and stuff like that, you have 8 guys, 4 of which are incoming freshmen. Mm-hmm. And your starting lineup right now is probably Luke Fennell from Australia, the freshman, J.J. Starling, Kai and Anthony, Sadiq White.
You have mentioned
before
that you don't think Kyan or Sadiq should really start whenever they first get here.
I don't think they should, but here's the thing. If you have all of this talent...
Also, Donnie Freeman as your starting center is not...
If you have all this talent transferring out, do I trust Syracuse men's basketball in the state of the program right now to add enough to that Kyan Anthony and Sadiq White don't have to start? Then I don't right now. I don't think I do.
It's all a lottery because you look at the moves last year, and I remember thinking, man, Jaquan Carlos, Eddie Lampkin, these are good moves in the transfer portal that you can get. It's tough. It is tough to build a winning culture whenever college basketball specifically, you could make a case for college football, but really college basketball specifically is such a year-by-year basis. This team didn't really have much time to mold together this year. They had a little bit of the fall, and then boom, you're into the season. So I think that's the biggest concern. I don't know how many of those guys are going to be one and done. I don't know if Kyan's going to be one and done. I don't know if Sadiq's going to be one and done. Who knows if Donnie's staying? I hope he does. And if he does, is he going to play just one more year, then go to the NBA? Probably. So I think it's the developmental thing, right? And I don't know. The transfer portal is going to be big. The transfer portal is going to be huge for Syracuse to make sure that they get to make sure that this team has the right guys surrounding those freshmen to make it easier. And I think Autry and this program has shown that they can do good in the transfer portal. It didn't necessarily work out the greatest this year, but I think this offseason is the biggest one to really fairly judge Autry.
People are forgetting, too. This is the first offseason of recruiting with Alex Klein, the general manager. So that could probably make a big difference. You can't really compare it to what we saw last year. It's going to be a completely
I'm very curious what he's up at the games. He's always has no. I always like to watch the coaches. I like to watch. I enjoy that. And
You're
that's
an observer?
I'm an observer, and I learn a lot actually from it. He's on his timeout always just like circling stuff or anything. I just wonder what he's doing. But you know what? I saw an article on it. If Alex Klein does a good job, then props to him. We'll see. He evaluated talent with the Knicks. He got the Knicks back to his space. I don't know. Obviously not just him, but I'm rooting for them.
Look, this off season going into next season is, and I think he knows it too, is Autry's biggest test.
Well, the program is at the lowest point it's been in over 50 years. And there's no debate there.
If Autry doesn't have a good offseason, because ultimately, you could say Alex Klein, you could say all these different staff, it comes down to Autry. If he doesn't have a good offseason recruiting-wise and a good offseason transfer portal-wise, and if next year things don't improve, then those tougher conversations happening. I think Athletic Director Wildhack knows that, and I think that's when we'll see kind of the end of the line for Autry if he doesn't succeed. But I think that I've been saying this since last year. 3 years is a fair judgment, and I really think that Autry can turn this around because now it's starting to become just more and more his guys, his recruits, his development.
It's tough because you can say that Autry's already won off-season recruiting. He's already brought in 2 really high-level recruits, Kyan Anthony and Sadiq White. It's adding on to that. I don't think it's really more the recruiting. It's the transfer portal at this point. Get guys who are talented and bring them in to make those recruits better.
Yeah. And
that is where Syracuse has struggled over the past few years, and it's time for them to finally figure it out in this new landscape.
Yeah, well said. I thought of an idea. So how for football, they have the countdown timer until Tennessee?
Yeah.
For basketball, they should do the count up timer since the last time they were in a March Madness game. That would motivate them, right?
Yeah, sure. Put it on the wall.
Yeah, let's wake those guys up a little bit. I mean, it's. I don't think it's that crazy of an idea. I mean, you gotta light a fire under some people. I mean, you gotta light a fire. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break here on Newhouse Afternoon. Coming up, we're gonna go into some Kyle McCord. His draft stock is rising. What did Chris Sims say? And also, March Madness is more like March blandness. Coming up, see after the short break, the party continues on QSportsTalk.com. Heard that I count down to Yankees baseball.
It's definitely a guy who had too many upsets in his bracket.
No, I'm still. So I'll
we'll talk. We'll talk about it.
Sorry, I mean his bets.
By the way, my bracket has been pretty good, actually. I will say, and I'm never good at my bracket. On my bracket, let's pull it up here. I actually haven't looked in a few days.
Look, is it the best bracket?
ESPN.
No.
It's good.
No. Oh, by the way, the home run here was terrible. I mean, Beatty just...
Brett Beatty's revenge arc is ridiculous. I can't get on board because I know he's going to hit 120 in April.
By the way, I will fully disclose this now without. I was going to tell you guys this, but I tried to get Frank the Tank on the show today and surprise you both.
Today?
Yes.
Oh, that would have been sick.
That would have been sick. That's unfortunate.
I would have said joining us right now is the man.
Oh, Pete just went deep. Good for the program.
On who?
Forgot you guys signed
I don't have it.
once.
I don't have it on, but
By the way, Yarborough. Oh my God, that made my day.
that's a good signing.
Oh my God, he killed the Yankees.
It was off Stroman.
Seriously?
Yeah.
He had one good start, and now we're back to crap.
Well, let's see if it was a bad pitch.
Nibble.
It's
All he does is nibble.
That's just a terrible. He just hung.
Let me look. I have it right here.
Hung a slider.
Okay.
Usually Alonso bails and wails at that pitch, but when it's right down the middle.
That's where the pitch was. Can I see under my thing here? Simulator.
Let me know when we're close to getting back, because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God, it was right in the frickin'. That's terrible. Right in the bottom of the zone. Hit
108
probability
108
99%. Oh, that makes sense.
That was a pretty bad slider.
I didn't see the Pablo Reyes home run off of AJ Minter, which is pretty fun.
Sherman has a 5.11 ERA this spring. Oh, fantastic. Nibble.
Oh, that's a great pitch. Cutter right down the middle, 93. Yeah.
Wow. That's horrible.
This bothers me.
For this next block, how much are we talking
How
about?
do we watch spring training? It's just great. It's nice to put on in the background. It's background noise. I'm sure Jacob watches every pitch like it's the World Series.
I actually haven't.
I
You'd be
like
shocked.
to
I
watch.
watched the first game. I'll watch the couple. I watched Garrett Cole's first inning. That was all I saw
That's
from
fair.
him.
Like usually I'll watch the first inning if
no,
there's starters
no,
playing, and then I will kind of like zone out, do other things.
Like I had no idea he was pitching today. I had no idea until you told me Stroman. I don't follow that.
I usually just am surprised when I get the notification that's like, oh.
Like right now, you'll have more of the regulars playing, so I'll pay a little more attention. But I mean, ever since I saw Kyle Higashioka hit 7 home runs in spring training and like a 1 point infinity OPS and couldn't hit a beach ball to start the season, spring training doesn't matter to me.
Brett Beatty's OPS is 1208, dude, and a 360 batting average.
Yeah, don't.
Best hitter in the Grapefruit League.
Yeah, I mean,
Grapefruit League MVP.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
To quote Major League, I have a bunch of guys who are going to be bagging groceries in a couple weeks.
Exactly. Brett Beatty's going to look great on the Syracuse Mets opening day roster.
All I want to do is reset my MLB.com password. It's so difficult.
You see they're having Joey Chestnut there for like an all-you-can-eat wing eating
Oh,
contest.
really? At the Smets?
Yeah, at the Smets opening day.
Are they giving out?
You can meet them, and then you can sign up. You and 2 other people try to out-eat Joey Chestnut's boneless wings or whatever.
I wouldn't do that.
Josh, you down?
No. Oh, wait. It's us and 2 other people?
It's you and 2 other people.
I'd do that.
I thought it was you and 2 other people compete against him. No, I think what would happen is you would just set up a giant gauntlet match. You just set up a giant table, have Joey Chestnut at one end, and then everybody else. And see
boneless wings. Boneless. In 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
You gotta do it in 3 minutes.
I would do that.
You can sign up. Leave a comment on the Syracuse Mets Instagram or Facebook post
today.
with how many you can eat.
Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
We're back here on Newhouse Afternoon, ESPN Radio Syracuse. Dan Papillo, Josh Radjanov, and Jacob K. Talking a little ball here from 2 to 3 o'clock, and we are diving into what Jacob called before the break March blandness. Was that the word?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty boring.
Jacob K. did not watch Maryland, Colorado State yesterday.
Besides that game, nothing's been else exciting. I mean, there's no debate. I don't know what you guys are going to argue with me here.
I would say
it's been pretty.
Did you not watch Florida UConn?
That was a really good game, yeah.
Yeah, 2 good games out of how many?
There's been a lot of good games.
There's been a lot of good games have come down to the wire.
Nah, I wouldn't say so.
Like I said over the break here on QSportsTalk.com, Jacob definitely is just complaining because his bracket's not going very well.
Oh, my bracket. That's what I was looking up. I got distracted with looking at
Listen, I want to
run.
say I'm pretty proud of myself. As someone who doesn't watch a whole lot of college basketball during the regular season, I went 28 of 32 in the first round. That's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, I went 27. I'm really upset because I'm at about 97% correctness right now, 510 points. I'm in first place in one of my groups, but I picked St. John's to win.
Yeah, you're cooked, buddy.
I'm cooked. My max points are like 1,200 compared to everyone else.
How can I see
1,700.
how many I won the first round? He did.
If you just kind of go through it.
Well, I'm not counting.
Unfortunately for me, I still have my finals right. I still have Auburn and Tennessee, but 2 of my 4 Final Four teams have bowed out in the round of 32.
That's not great.
Unfortunately for me, I had Wisconsin, which was kind of just a gut call, which did not go very well. BYU ended up beating them. That was a close game. And then UConn broke my heart yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know why you had UConn going all the way to the final.
Because I can't pick against Dan Hurley in March.
Yeah, but you can.
They competed that entire game. They were leading in the second half.
But Florida's just too good. Actually, I have Florida losing.
That was a really tough break.
So I have in a friendly bet with somebody.
Okay.
All 1 seeds making the Final Four.
All 1 seeds?
I need 8 more wins.
It's not ridiculous.
Yeah, especially this year. It's been a very chalky year. I don't think that's a bad thing, though. I just think good basketball is being rewarded right now.
100%.
I think the teams that are playing the best right now are just the best teams in the nation. I personally enjoy chalk years. I'm not saying I don't enjoy the Cinderella stories and all that stuff, but these are good games, and the best teams are being rewarded because they do play the best basketball. I mean, watching Florida play and move around on the basketball court is insane. Watching that Maryland game yesterday was awesome. That game winner, Derek Queen.
Derek Queen off the glass was very impressive.
Where do you get your confidence from? I'm from Baltimore. That's a great answer.
That's a great line.
That's a great line. I've thoroughly enjoyed this tournament. In fact, watching this tournament makes me question Syracuse basketball.
That's exactly where I was going to go with this.
Because you watch these offenses and they're all moving so much, and then you watch Syracuse on offense and then they're just so stagnant. They stand still.
It's a tough break, though, for New York's own, the king of New York, Rick Pitino and St. John's. But I kind of said it. I said it to Josh. That's just New York sports for you. All those expectations never goes well, does it?
I don't know why I picked them to win. That
was purely a vibes pick for me.
When I saw one day, recently, not too, a month ago maybe, that Syracuse had better shooting numbers than St. John's, I knew that St. John's is a joke.
Really? I mean,
we had better shooting percentages than State. They're not a great shooting team, but once I saw that, I'm like, yeah.
Well, St. John's shot 26% in the loss to Arkansas,
I was gonna say
9% from 3.
St. John's is not a 3-point shooting team. All year they were more of a drive to the paint. Kadari Richmond, a former Syracuse guy, he kind of had to do a lot. He ended up fouling out pretty early in the second half of that game against Arkansas. But it's part of the fun. I mean, March Madness is great because of this. I just love I don't know if it's the culture is the way to say it, but something about just the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of being able to just do whatever I want and watch so much basketball is just awesome.
I fell asleep during one of the games. It was so boring.
Really?
March Madness. I will say before we move on, watch out for Arkansas, Texas Tech. Watch out for Arkansas because since that 0-5 SEC start, they've been on a tear. I mean, Brazil has been really good. Calipari has this team playing incredibly well. They beat you inside, outside. It's been I could see Arkansas beating Texas Tech.
There's still so much room for upsets. There's so much talk about chalk, of course, with guys like Duke and Auburn still in the tournament. But anything can really happen. I still think, you can see all those. You could still see what Jacob's got, those 4 1 seeds in the Final Four. But who wants that? I don't think anybody does.
Michigan's scary. Last time Caleb Love played Duke, he sent home Coach K.
Why in the world are these games on Thursday at 10 o'clock? Why are we starting so late?
I'm trying to talk about the actual ball, dude.
Games from noon to 10 o'clock.
No, I mean this Thursday. Why are they starting at 10? Why are we not starting at 7 o'clock? I don't understand that.
Let's see.
Look at the game times. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's a game at 7. There's a game at 7:30. There's a game at 9:30, and there's a game at 10.
I saw days they were.
You don't want to
later.
watch basketball all night? What you got going on Friday morning?
Oh no, Thursday I'm so excited. I got my Yankees on. I'm gonna go to basketball. I can't wait. The timing for me works out fine. I'm just saying, why are they starting so late? The day games are fun
Because
too.
there's regionals that are in Seattle, I believe.
Yeah. I think this Arizona Duke game's in Seattle, right?
Okay, the Eastern time zone's the only time zone that matters. I mean, we all know that. Like, it's not really a.
I don't disagree, but also, like, come on.
Like, everything's Eastern. We're the only time zone that matters.
I've loved this tournament so far.
That's a little strong.
This is some of the best, March is one of those months that's just elite for sports because there's so many different things going on.
We got baseball predictions coming up in the next block.
Coming up in the next block. That's going to be, insufferable with whatever Jacob's going to say. But another big thing that kind of gets swept under the rug, but it's looking pretty prevalent for Syracuse right now, is the NFL draft talks.
Yeah.
The NFL draft is just about a month away, and Kyle McCord has gotten a lot of buzz. They held the pro day over the past week. Over 30 different teams came out here to Syracuse to see them, which is really exciting stuff for the program.
Yeah.
We want to own in on Kyle McCord, who got into some conversations with John Gruden of Barstool Sports.
Yeah, shooting content with John Gruden at QB camp. I cannot wait to watch that. I love John Gruden. He's like,
got you feeling nicey.
Yeah, he's the best. He's like, he calls him Frank the Tank. That's what he says, Frank the Tank.
I love John Gruden, dude. I really wanted him to come back to coaching. I wanted him to coach the Jets.
He's good on Barstool.
He's so funny.
He's good on Barstool. I don't know.
He's fantastic.
Have you seen the TikToks?
I love John Gruden. But he opens up. Have you saw the video? I got to show you guys in the break. But let's focus back to the point here. Kyle McCord.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, Chris Sims ranked him 4th best quarterback in the draft.
I think that's fair.
I think it's pretty crazy how that Miami game really changes trajectory as a quarterback. I mean, you talk about McCord before the Miami win, and he said, okay, maybe he could get drafted. He might go undrafted. Since that game, and then also the Wazoo game, I mean, he's been rising and rising and rising. His stock has just increased so much. He had a great combine, had a great pro day. Kyle McCord, I think it'd be a great investment. I don't think is he going to start necessarily like early on? No, but I think he'll be a really good quarterback, a substantial quarterback in the NFL.
It's interesting because you see this every year where guys will start to rise and fall without even doing anything. I think back to like Trey Lance, for example, and what happened to him after the season ended, just before the draft.
The Zach Wilson pro day.
Zach Wilson's pro day. Guys like Jackson Dart, who are really rising up the list. They said Chris Sims said that he's the 4th best quarterback in the draft. I'm assuming he had Jackson Dart 3rd.
I can pull up the rankings right now.
Because you're having guys like just randomly that will shoot up because people watch the All-22 film, they watch the combines, they watch the pro days, and they say, wait a second, this guy's got some untapped potential.
Okay,
and
here we
teams
go.
are falling in love with Kyle McCord's arm
So we
right
have
now.
Ward, Sanders, Dart.
They went Dart, yeah. I know. I've heard ones with Milroe as well. That's more. I think the Milroe ceiling is what's drawing teams interested rather than the actual talent right now.
McCord's a guy who dominated the ACC. I mean, he diced up opponents every single game for one whole season. Except for Pitt, off game. And then he also played very well in the Big Ten, one of the best defensive conferences in college football. So, this is a guy who, I mean, if he stayed at Ohio State, he probably wouldn't have to work so hard to, get the attention that he deserves. And because of the performances that he put on in his final few games and just the season that he overall had at Syracuse, he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. But again, this is a guy who played against some of the best defenses in all of college football just 2 years ago.
Yep.
As a junior, and was playing really well. And then as a senior, played even better. You can expect Kyle McCord to grow a lot. And if you get him under an experienced quarterback or an experienced coach where he can learn a little bit, again, I don't see Kyle McCord being one of those guys who's going to come in and, be your day one starter right away. But you give him time to develop, and he'll be a solid quarterback in the NFL. I feel like.
Well, he led FBS in big time throws.
Yeah.
So I mean, the numbers are right here. Like everything's really among the draft quarterbacks. It's really impressive.
Leave it to Jacob to print out the notes, guys.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
what is big time? PFF grades?
Big time throw percentage? What's big time throw percentage?
Look it up.
All right. Anyway, if you missed our talk with Andrew Siciliano 2 weeks ago, we actually asked him about this, and his response, my biggest thing with Kyle McCord, and when I was thinking about it throughout the season, because you watched Kyle McCord play, and you kind of had a feeling that was like, okay, this guy's probably going to have a future in football somewhere. But I'm still kind of in the camp of steering away from older quarterbacks, because I don't know if this is just newer because, the COVID years and the redshirt years, they're finally coming to an end. But in my opinion, I get a little hasty when I see a 24-year-old college quarterback compared to a 21-year-old with more time to develop. But Andrew Siciliano said that doesn't matter. I'm kind of curious where you guys stand on that.
I just think he's a different quarterback than like some of those. Like he's a very much traditional pocket passer. I mean, we watched Kyle McCord for an entire year. He doesn't run a lot. Whereas
he's got the legs to do it, he just doesn't.
Yeah, but where if you take a guy like Jaden Milroe or Shedeur Sanders or maybe not Shedeur,
even Jackson
Dart a little bit, who relies on their legs a lot more than Kyle McCord does for sure. Those are guys that you want a little bit younger because they play. They're going to run a lot, and you expect, if you're drafting Jalen Milroe, you want to draft him young because you're expecting him to run, a good portion of your offense because he's
I just
a
think
really
that
good
a guy
quarterback.
like Milroe has a higher ceiling than someone like McCord does. I don't think that's too crazy.
I don't think that's too crazy to say, but also Milroe hasn't looked great. In his last few games at Alabama,
but you can develop a guy in the NFL.
Of course
the more
you can.
years you have to develop, I feel like the better.
Of course you can. But I think Kyle McCord. Sure, you could make that argument, but right now, the floor for Milroe is a lot lower than I would say the floor for McCord. You have to weigh all options. And McCord makes some NFL level throws that I think that scouts see that. And I think that those are some NFL level throws that I don't see other quarterbacks like the Jalen Milroes are not making.
Jacob, you got something?
Speaking of NFL quarterbacks, do you want to guess who PFF compared who they said McCord's a mix of? Current NFL quarterbacks.
I saw the one from NFL.com that compared him to Mitch Trubisky. I'm hoping it's not.
No, it's not Mitch Trubisky. No.
It's current because
they're active quarterbacks.
If I were to guess,
I was going to say a little Tony Romo, but
how about this?
Active.
How about this? We'll tell them after the break.
All right, we'll tell you right after the break. Don't go anywhere here on Newhouse Afternoon, ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Thank you. I want to get into the baseball too.
No.
I guess we'll learn after the break.
You're setting it up as somebody.
It's going to be this.
Like absolute disrespect.
No, I'm not actually. I don't think I am, at least. What?
Is it a good comp?
I would say so. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The Jets with McCord and Giants with Cutlets. When did Cuse become a QB factory? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Not crazy to say. The McCord of the Jets is something that it would just be so funny. I would love to do that.
You know where he would go well? The Rams, too.
Yeah, I like the Rams for him.
And the Jets, too.
I mean,
is that a preview to?
Listen, I'm bought into the Mark Sanchez storyline here.
Is the Rams a preview to what quarterback? Because I could possibly see it. I don't know.
Stafford, no. He's a little of a Stafford him, but it's not. The quarterback mentioned, quarterbacks are not Stafford.
If I don't know. You can host. I'll just kind of tap you when to go.
I'll do it when my headset's working.
Okay. Jacob, take this. We'll talk about this, and then we'll dive into the baseball.
The StatCast now, they're tracking batting stances now. I'm just going to have to get into that.
We're going to talk about how a guy's batting stance is changing over the year?
Yes, and how they, in terms of the leg, I don't know.
Well, if you look at Pete Alonso, he kind of brought his hips in about 4.2%, which is the most in baseball this season.
I saw a tweet that said, I don't like how baseball has been overrun by nerds.
I mean, kind of.
I
I
wouldn't say that.
Doom scrolling on the AER account. That's funny.
That is funny. Let's see. What's going on? Are we missing any headlines in sports? What's Ken Rosenthal have to say?
Probably nothing.
No, it's just a bunch of fair territory retweets.
It's that Brett Beatty homered again. And it's that the Islanders are starting a defenseman at third-line center tonight because of injuries and illnesses.
I don't want to hear I don't want to hear what you have to say about injuries right now.
They're 2 points out of a playoff spot.
Are they actually?
Yeah, somehow.
You know something really funny?
You know the Texas Legends, the Texas Stars clinched their spot in the Calder Cup playoffs.
Oh yeah. That's sick.
So I'm in a religion and sports class.
Okay.
And you know how...
Is that the one over Zoom?
It is offered over Zoom. I'm in person.
Okay.
So you have a final project. You got to think of an idea. So you know how I have to relate everything back to the Yankees?
Of course.
You want to know what I'm doing?
Max Fried.
Monument Park.
Oh.
About how it's a sacred place.
It is pretty.
It's actually a great.
There is, honestly, I don't hate that because going into Monument Park is such like a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
Like you step like the way because it's like you got that very weird like corridor. It's locked away.
Wait, which part's Monument Park?
That's center field, the Yankee Stadium with all the
the plaques. Yeah.
You step down those you go down that really small hallway and you go down those stairs and then you're just welcomed into that. Like I think that's actually kind of sick.
Yeah, and you have the museum with all the balls that are. I mean, it's a sacred place.
Last time I went to Yankee. I was in Yankee Stadium over the summer. The last time I went to that, I forgot. I think it was in 2014.
Oh, this is deviant. This is diabolical.
Oh, they're bringing it to the.
No, this is just a photo. He made the team though.
Oh my.
Oh wow, LeBron James is going on McAfee this week.
Oh jeez. Hey, by the way, Cookie Carrasco made the roster. You were right.
Yeah.
Jacob, have you heard any of the LeBron songs?
Yeah, the LeBron songs with AI on TikTok.
Talking about the man on the Lakers, LeBron. No. Bron or MJ?
LeBron.
What do you think?
LeBron.
I have a feeling you're an MJ guy. How did I guess? You're wrong.
I will say, Jordan, I love, we talked about it a few weeks ago, like the John Cena promo from Brussels and how it's just been memed off the face of the earth. It's so funny. You get nothing! Yeah, I love it, honestly.
Oh, I can't wait.
What?
Raw's WWE's been on. It's been overseas, so every televised show has been in the late afternoon to make up for the
This is my favorite. Look, wait for this. Look at this.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Yes, it is. This is Newhouse Afternoon with Dan Papillo, Josh Radjanov, and Jacob K with you. We teased before the break that we're going to go into the PFF comparison for Kyle McCord. But first, this hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village, Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more info. So my two pals here were not smart enough to come with any quarterback.
Well, we got a little sidetracked.
We got very sidetracked thanks to all of us. But
okay, let me give two.
Okay, shoot.
Let me give a little Joe Burrow.
No.
Okay.
I don't like that.
And then I said Matthew Stafford over the break. You said that's wrong.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, can I give mine?
Shoot.
I can see the Josh Allen maybe.
Nope.
For arm talent. No. All right, who is it?
Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy.
All right. I mean, Brock Purdy doesn't really rely on his arm that much, but it's fair, I guess.
Quick passing.
I see Baker Mayfield.
I can see the
Baker Mayfield and Kyle McCord actually very similar in terms of. I'm from Texas. I used to be a big Big 12 guy. I watched a lot of Baker Mayfield growing up, hating Baker Mayfield as a Texas fan. But I see that comparison a lot actually. Yeah, that's an interesting. I could see. Look, I mean, Baker Mayfield has clearly put together a pretty strong NFL career for himself. I could see Kyle McCord doing a similar thing.
Baker's awesome. He always competes, fights, wants to win. I like Baker.
I respect it.
So let's go into the baseball here. So first, I brought a little something with me.
No boy.
So I know you guys make fun of me. I brought the world. My desk has been sitting the game notes since the World Series.
How much did this cost in total?
I don't know, but so my desk is a bit of a mess. I'll be honest. It's a bit of a. We have an area, but then we have papers just stacked.
Can I see one of those?
Let's see the Game 5 one.
You want Game 5? I mean, take the whole thing.
For those of
we
you
have
that
workout day. We have everything.
For those of you that don't follow, earlier this year on our show here with Jacob K, he brought the legal paper out for every Yankee World Series game or every Yankee playoff game.
World Series
game. Bought his own legal paper and printed it out because he cares that much. And it's very nice to see that you weren't bluffing and that this is real. because it's just like, what the heck?
So this signifies that baseball season is back, and I think we have some predictions to get to.
Well said. Yeah. No, I mean, if you want any game, for earlier today when I was looking, I didn't see game 1. I was kind of concerned.
They haven't posted the game notes yet?
No. They're right here. So let's get into the baseball. I'll start off hot here. So last year I correctly predicted a Chris Sale bounce back year. I'm going to do the same with yours, Jacob deGrom. I think he's going to be, I guess we'll start off here a little random, in the sort of the comeback player of the year is deGrom for me.
Jacob deGrom has talked about how he mentioned how he used to give like 110%, like every single pitch, all that stuff. He said like 99%. The Rangers are really strategically talking about how they can sustain him for an entire year. So early on, like, Jacob deGrom could be throwing a no-hitter through 5 innings. They're going to take him out to keep him on a pitch count limit.
Yeah.
Like, they are going to be very, like, the Rangers have already said how conservative they are planning on being with deGrom. Because, look, I don't care about a, May regular season win as much as I want deGrom healthy down the stretch in September and then hopefully October baseball. By the way, I'm a Rangers fan, if we haven't.
100%. And me being a diehard Met fan who grew up watching Jacob deGrom my entire life, I 100% agree. I think that he could very well be one of the best pitchers in baseball still if he could just stay healthy, and I really hope he does. I will always root for that guy.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I was gonna go on a similar line, but I went 2 hitters for my breakout / comeback player of the year. 2 young guys too that kind of struggled a little bit last year. I'll start in the National League. Corbin Carroll. He had a great rookie year. Obviously won the Rookie of the Year award, and then last year just mechanically struggled. Everything was just kind of a struggle for him, and obviously whenever you go deep into November baseball, it's a little bit harder to come back and have that same consistency. I could see Corbin Carroll having a really big year this year. He's had a pretty decent spring, and he's got really good stuff. And then my AL guy, again, was a rookie last year, and I'm a Rangers fan, so this is going to give it away. Rookie last year, he had a pretty decent season, but I think he's going to take a big sophomore leap, is Wyatt Langford. I mean, this guy has all the tools. He's like a great defender, plus power bat, plus average bat. I think Wyatt Langford is due for a big year, so that'll be my breakout / comeback players of the year.
Yeah. I've got a fun one for you guys for my breakout player of the year, because I'm going a completely different direction. And this has nothing to do with the guy himself, but more about where he will be playing half of his games this season. My breakout player candidate is Brandon Lowe from the Tampa Bay Rays. That guy has some of the most elite power in baseball, very underrated, and guess what? He's playing half of his games now at Steinbrenner Field, which is modeled after Yankee Stadium, especially with that right field. Let Brandon Lowe have that swing to right field for 80 games in the year. He hit 39 home runs in 2021. I could very well see him going on another crazy year like
that season he had in 2020 was just absolutely insane. And that run that he went on in the 2020 playoffs, almost single-handedly leading the Rays to a World Series, was truly incredible.
I don't think the Rays are still going to compete very well in the AL East, but I do think that Brandon Lowe is going to have a really, really good year playing at Steinbrenner Field.
Interesting. I didn't think of that. He always killed the Yankees, so he will probably play well. So let's go, I guess, MVPs and Cy Youngs. I could take the start. One of you guys doesn't matter.
This is going to be very boring for my MVP picks, but I mean, I have Shohei in the NL.
I do too.
He's pitching and hitting this year. Like
he does.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about
my AL MVP. I was going back between Corey Seager and Bobby Witt Jr. and for the sanctity of not being full Rangers only picks, I went with Bobby Witt Jr. Plus, he is just poised to have such a big season.
Fair.
I mean, he finished in second in MVP voting last year, a 30-30 year. And there's no indication of him slowing down. I'm going Bobby Witt.
So I kind of think I know where Jacob's going. So I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to pick Aaron Judge again. Because,
When's the last time Aaron Judge put together 2 back-to-back good seasons?
He actually was going. He was doing it.
He would have in 23,
ago.
but then he got hurt
with toe injury.
That's what I'm trying to say. Honestly, when was the last time he put back-to-back healthy seasons together?
All right. Well, here's how I'm going to say it. With Soto departing and now Judge taking the reins again, I feel like it's going to make his season, because he's going to get his. If he stays healthy, he's going to hit 50 home runs. He's going to have that success. That makes it a little bit more impressive, especially if he kind of wills the Yankees on. So I do think that Aaron Judge, I do think Bobby Witt's going to have a great year too, but I can see Aaron Judge kind of getting the edge over him again.
Yeah, I have Judge too, and my Cy Young, I have Skubal.
Are we only doing AL?
Oh, we all vote Ohtani, so
Okay.
that was just that was there. And in the NL Cy Young is tough this year actually. I have Spencer Strider.
That's
because
a good pick.
he's just,
that's kind of similar.
Want to be a little bit different. Yeah.
Coming off.
How about you guys?
I picked Justin Steele in the NL. Kind of a sleeper pick. I mean, he pitched great a couple years ago. Last year was battling a lot of injuries. He obviously got hurt on opening day. I remember watching that. It was against the Rangers. He's a sneaky guy. I think the Cubs have a sneaky rotation this year in general. I picked them to. We'll get into division predictions in a second, but I picked them to win the NL Central, and I think Justin Steele is going to be the pitcher that kind of like leads them the way. So I picked him in the NL, and then the AL, I picked Logan Gilbert.
Ooh, I like that.
I don't have the Mariners going very far. I don't think they'll make the play. They might make the playoffs, but Logan Gilbert, man, I mean, he's a stud, a young guy. Lots of action on his fastball and just some nasty breaking pitches. Every time the Rangers have to go in Seattle and play him, it's almost like a 1-run loss every single game. I love watching him pitch. I could see him winning the AL Cy Young this year.
I'm gonna start with the NL, and he is getting older, but I do think that aging like wine is kind of popular with these pitchers. He came in second last year. I'm gonna go Zach Wheeler for my NL Cy Young pick. Consistently been really good over the past few years. Kind of due for that breakout season.
None of us have Skeens.
Yeah, I was thinking Skeens. I'm kind of on the fence.
A little too much hype on him,
I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah,
I think he's also due for a little bit of a sophomore regression.
He will be in the conversation, though.
Yeah.
And then in the AL, I'm going to go Garrett Crochet.
Yeah,
I think Garrett Crochet has looked dominant in spring training, and something about playing at Fenway too, especially for a pitcher like that, is definitely going to help his numbers. I think that he could be a sleeper side.
Before we do a little bit more, I want your thoughts on we didn't talk about this or whatever. The biggest disappointment for a team this year. That's gonna that expectations, whatever they are, who's going to be the biggest flop this year? I can go first if you guys want a second.
Yeah, you go first.
I'm going to go with Baltimore. I think they just, you look at their win total. I mean, a month ago it was 89. Now it's down to 86 or 85.5. I just don't think Baltimore's that good. I think last year they fell apart just as the Yankees did, which is why they didn't win the division. They're pitching. They lost Corbin Burns. They have some injuries. I don't see much from Baltimore.
I'm about to make someone at this table very
The
mad.
Yankees.
No.
I can't disagree with you.
Look, I love Juan Soto. Obviously, that lineup is going to be really good. You guys are due for a regression.
You
don't
wait.
have the pitching. You don't have the pitching to get it done.
Tyler McGill and Griffin Canning to start opening weekend.
What are your expectations for the Mets this year?
I think they're going to be very similar to what they were last year.
Really?
I think they're going to start slow again. And
but you genuinely think that they could, I guess you think that in the regular season they'll be similar.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Playoffs are a completely different thing. We won't talk about that right now. I do think, though, for the Mets this season, it's going to be similar. They're going to start slow. Pitching's going to find its form. The bats are going to stay consistent, and then they'll kind of trudge their way along.
But that's the difference. It's like last year, you knew you had the guys that could find their form pitching-wise, and
not really. It's kind of very similar because you had guys like Minaya and Severino who are a bunch of question marks. They're trying to run back the same thing with Canning and the other guys.
It's just
and Holmes.
It's hard to complete that back-to-back years. I see the Mets having a very disappointing year this year. With that being said, 2 years from now, with maybe some more offseason moves, we'll be talking about the Mets. There's still a lot of time left on this timetable in the Lindor-Soto era. It's not your year this year.
I don't think it'll happen the first year either. I can still hope, though. It'll be fun.
My other pick was the Mariners, by the way. But
my disappointment one, I mean, I think we've kind of talked about this, or at least, it's pretty popular in baseball spaces. I think it's going to be the Phillies. That team's just kind of getting older.
Yeah.
And they haven't really done too much to add to what's already an aging core that's kind of proven that it can't get it done. So I do think the Phillies, they're going to be in that wild card conversation. They're always in the wild card conversation. But you're going to see a fall off from all that big group. Harper, Schwarber's getting older. It's finally time that they kind of start to take the reins down a little bit.
Are we doing picks?
We'll do division winners during the break. Because we're running out of time here, and we'll do the World Series on the other side of the break.
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
Close it out, and then we'll do the suffering moment of the week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You want to take us to break? I can. Anybody can.
I mean,
this is how we do.
We're having fun here.
We're having fun here. So, as I just said, our division winners will be predicted on Q Sports Talk over the break. So, I mean, that's must see, must listen to, must see. And the World Series after the break. This is Newhouse Afternoon on QSportsTalk.com and ESPN Syracuse.
Hey, this is former Syracuse.
The Mets are winning the World Series. Come on.
I think you're a little strong with that, but I don't disagree with you, Josh. So I think with the Mets take, I think it's a little strong, but I can't. Their pitching is question marks.
I've seen the script.
Okay,
so are we doing
AL East Yankees? I mean, come on.
No,
you're gonna hate me.
Red Sox. Red Sox.
Are we both taking the Red Sox?
I think so.
I forgot we
talked about.
Didn't you pick the Orioles?
No, I did not. I said I.
Oh, that was out of being different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Orioles are kind of due for a regression. I just think the Red Sox got. Oh. What do you say?
It's the LeBron song.
Oh, I wish I could hear this right now.
Is it not turned up?
You don't hear it? I hear it.
Do you hear it? My producer had said.
Oh, it's not working. That's weird.
Yeah. That's why I don't want. That's why I've been hosting.
Oh, that's funny.
It's so funny.
It's stupid. Okay, next Central.
Are we doing? I was gonna. Okay, I picked the Royals.
Yeah, the Royals.
Yeah, I could see the Twins too.
Nah.
I expect a downfall. I was gonna pick Cleveland originally, and then I kind of went with the Phillies.
Yeah. Next, West.
It'll be Texas. I think Seattle will give them a run for their money, though.
Rangers.
Yeah. NL East.
NL?
Atlanta's due for a year where everybody's healthy and they go on another.
They won 89 games with like a disaster season.
Another destruction run. Yeah.
Okay, Central. I mean,
Chicago.
I think the Cubs. Yeah.
Way to be an echo chamber over here, guys. I already told you I picked the Cubs.
Oh, and NL West. I mean, we don't even need to go over that.
Give me the
No. Give me Arizona.
No. Give me the Angels.
There's wild card. There's three wild cards.
The Dodgers.
Right? There's 3 wild card or 2 wild card. There's 3, right?
3 wild cards.
Okay.
Your wild cards will be the Mets.
Oh. My dad's listening and wanted to show me
the 3 wild cards will probably be
the
Mets, Diamondbacks, Padres.
Look at me in my little M&M t-shirt and always repping the Rangers.
So you think Brewers? You think this is the Brewers' year to fall?
Yeah,
a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. I would say in the AL.
Yeah.
I go with Baltimore will make. I don't know. Boston will make it. Either Kansas City or Detroit. I think Cleveland will make it.
New York, Baltimore, Seattle are my AL.
I don't hate that. I need to see it. This is the make or break year for the Orioles. I can't believe in this team anymore.
I mean, their win total right now on FanDuel is. Let's look.
I'm looking at.
What does Pacoda have him at?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Pacoda has them at 87 and winning the division.
See, that numbers went down. Yankees are at 85.
The AL East are not.
Just keeps sinking. The great FanDuel has them at. Let's
Boy, I love my.
Okay. Baltimore, they are at 86.5 right now.
What's the Mets line at?
90.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the under.
Yankees are at 88.5. I mean, I love the over.
Our guy Aco has them at 72 and 90.
Who are the Yankees?
The Mets.
He went a little Frank the Tank.
You're winning 60 games.
This is the funniest video. Listen to this. This is the Gruden. Look, this is why is it?
Got me feeling nicey.
This one.
Got me feeling nicey.
Look, this is the best. Okay, wait for it. Wait for this.
Coach, let's go play some ball. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what's in the boxes.
It's Frank's unboxing song.
Another unboxing.
Look.
Let's see what's in this box.
It's time for another unboxing. Time for another unboxing.
Let's see what's in this box.
The voice of an angel.
Brain rot.
No,
it's not brain rot.
Let's keep these World Series picks brief.
I still don't have a suffering moment of the week.
I have 2. I put them both in there. How much time? How much time? Or do we not?
10.
Oh.
Yeah.
25.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Wrapping up shop here on Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Dan Papillo, Josh Radjanov, and Jacob K. Guys, we're wrapping up shop. We got to talk about our World Series picks. Jacob, I'll start with you. Who you got?
Dodgers, Yankees.
Shocker. And who's winning?
The Dodgers.
Oh, he's going against himself. I'm going Rangers over Dodgers in 6.
Give me the Mets over the Red Sox in 7. You got to believe, baby.
All right, let's get into our suffer moment of the weeks. As always, we take a moment in sports that wasn't so, good, that would make a fan base suffer. And I'm going to take one for me personally, myself, that I'm suffering, is because I picked St. John's to win March Madness, and it's not only the fact that my bracket is now cooked, but it's also the fact that I'm doing, as I mentioned earlier, so good. I'm in first place in 2 of my different pools right now. I'm doing so good so far in my March Madness picks, and I just cannot win it because I picked St. John's to win.
I'm going to give mine to Clemson basketball for losing to McNeese State in terrible fashion. As much as I love Amir Orakan, I love the cheerleaders wearing him on the socks and the boombox, the entire story. But Clemson played absolutely awful in that game. That was embarrassing.
Shout out Quadir Copeland, though.
Quadir Copeland with a big game, but still.
The suffering. I mean, you guys have missed the mark. Syracuse. Not being not being in the tournament. One thing was missing from this weekend was Syracuse.
Well, Syracuse brought themselves into the madness by having guys transfer out.
Nobody cares.
Like Chris Bell transferring out.
Didn't ruffle any feathers.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. For Jacob K., Josh Radjanov, I'm Dan Papillo saying so long. Enjoy the rest of the week and enjoy opening day on Thursday, where the Mets will go on their World Series run. Take it easy, everybody.
Sports.
The Sports Show with